Need to find my charger. That's lame. I don't know where my charger went. Hey guys,
Hey,
welcome.
Andrew, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
It's going
Yeah, just going.
in all directions.
Yeah, chaos. That is how it is with me. We were at the hospital last night because my kid refuses to drink, and we had to IV her because she's stubborn, like her dad and mom.
It happens.
It does. Luckily, we just switched to my wife's insurance, which she works at a hospital. It's much better.
Convenient.
Yeah, it is pretty convenient. And we live like 4 minutes from the hospital, so that's pretty good too. Let's see here. Oh, poop. Let's try again. Um, try that. Try it again. Perfect. Man. All right, I'm gonna give people probably like 2 minutes, and then we can get started. I'll definitely record and then just upload something. It's hard to get everybody on here. I didn't announce things. Normally I do like an email blast or something, but I did not do it for this one.
No one wants
So
to learn how to code.
I know plenty of people do because they've reached out. So there's a lot of people that I know at least 20 people that are interested in coding from the group. So I think they'll like the video. I'll end up creating some of these in the classroom, so I'll just have a recording. This one's going to be part one of, it's probably going to take three videos, three of these calls. But I mean, I, at this point, I'm just leaving WordPress behind. There's no point anymore because I only use WordPress because it was easy.
Right.
What's really easy is just prompting exactly what you want with your voice, and then it creates whatever you want. That's like, I can just see a competitor. I could see anything in the wild, and I can just have that feature. And I used to have to like find people on Upwork and do all this shit, and now it's like I don't have to do any of that. So now it's just like a totally new world. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest changes for people is convincing them, look, it's actually much better if you don't use WordPress. And then another big one is that's just the website side. The actual code. I mean, I kid you not, me and my co-founder. So we have developers, and they're not bad. They're not bad developers. I would rate them intermediate. Probably two-thirds of them are intermediate, and one-third is advanced. And even so, I want to say they admitted this too in today's meeting that we had a classroom sort of thing where we taught them, but we went from no code experience a month and a half ago to my co-founder is now better than like 90% of them and doesn't know how to code. That's the great, like, he just knows how to prompt. So that's kind of like to give you a little bit of an understanding of how far you can go and how quickly. You could start with zero and really get better than most people. And we're still not at a point where AI can like get you above a true senior engineer. And if a senior engineer is using this, nah, they're 10x what you can do. Like it's just like no comparison. It's like trying to compare someone trying to like write a book by hand versus like using keyboards. You could do it much faster with a keyboard. So that is
Impressive.
yeah, that's the next piece. And then the other one is just the tools. So just understanding which tools to use that make this really freaking easy. And some of the prompts that you will use with those tools. So, hey, Roberto, and
Hey, what's
Joel.
up, guys? How are you?
Hey, man. And Kevin
Hey.
as well. All right, we got enough people. I'd say five's a crowd. If people want to join, we're good to go. I was outlining what we're going over. We have some stuff with websites, stuff with design, stuff with prompting, and the tools. So, uh, is everyone, would you say that you are below or you're at a beginner when it comes to coding? Beginner or below? I guess would anyone say that they're above that? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
good.
I've been a developer for a long time.
Okay, so Larry, you are. I'll feel free to interrupt if you're going to have better questions and you're going to be able to help me. I am in. I am good with AI. It does not mean I'm good at coding. I've just found something that works. So I'm
Yeah,
sure
like I
you're
said, it's
gonna
impressive.
love this. Yeah, let's dig into it. So I'm gonna share my screen. All right, so let's do. I don't even know where to start. How about we do? Uh, Let's start with my Excalibur. Okay. So you basically have this. This is kind of like your the initial structure. You have an initial project outline that you want to build. This is for building tools. This kind of works, as I've said in all of my prompt guidance. You want to outline and structure, or you deconstruct the components of the ask of what it is being requested because the AI is always going with broad. So keep that in mind. You're always going to want to deconstruct because then you actually have a roadmap for it to follow. One of the things that I do, this is aside the point, but this applies to everything. When you deconstruct, you can do a final. Once you're like, okay, I have all the deconstructed parts, you can then ask it to create a logical step-by-step order if I want to like basically tackle these logically. So whichever things need to be done first, because they impact so much of the later steps, basically it takes all the deconstructed stuff, reorganizes it, and then you're just going to iterate. And that's exactly how I prompt for just about anything. So GPT-4o, I do that one first just because it's fast and high quality. And I'm just more familiar and comfortable with OpenAI. But to be honest, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is by far the best on every single metric that there is. There's no comparison. It is the best. It is also 40% cheaper than GPT-4o. So something to keep in mind. It's just, I don't like what do you call it? It caps you on messages. So you really can't get very far with Claude, at least in like the prompt environment on like the software when you download it or whatever. So the only way I can use Claude repeatedly is inside of another API tool sort of thing. All right, so initial project outline. Then we want to use GPT-o1 preview to poke holes in the outline. This is you can just in the same context, you can adjust the model, but I like to have two different AI model or two different windows open of the AIs. So it just helps for me. One is dedicated to an editor and one is just construction. So that works really well in all of my workflows. So GPT-o1, its whole shtick is logical thinking, breaking down things, and really understanding how to construct an argument and formulate things logically. So next, once you've done this step, you will get your project outline, and this is what's going to take us into my tool that I built for inside of Content Sprout too. Is you don't have to use Content Sprout. I did it just because I thought it was helpful for me, but you can do it on your own too. So GPT-o1, and then oh Brian, nice. Then cursor. or VS Code plus Klein. Does anyone have Cursor already? Okay, Joel does. I know you do. Okay, highly recommend everyone gets that. I'm going to open that up right now. Everyone needs to download that. Go to cursor.com. You don't have to pay for it right now. You can download it for free. It is worth the $20. This is by far, out of all the tools as a marketer that I now have, this is the tool I think is most worth its money. It's $20. And $20 will get you basically the ability to use the composer. So the difference between ChatGPT creating code and Cursor creating code is contextual awareness. And if you've ever tried to build anything like a long conversation and of any kind, there's a weakness in all AI models. And the weakness is the middle section. So it has a hard time retaining anything that happened in the middle of your workflow. So Cursor, I'm going to open up now my cursor so you can see it. Cursor, the way that any of these tools work is this is a visual code editor. This is just whenever you're doing code, it's just using files on your computer and you can visualize them here and save them as different file types. So let's actually do this. So I highly recommend you just get a desktop folder for all your projects, name them projects. And now this was the thing that confused the hell of me when I first started. It's so stupid. It's so easy now that I look back at it, but I was just like, I don't understand where to find my files. I don't get what the is going on. Literally just create this. Anything you're doing, you have projects. So now I have my marketing website and prompt box and this site and this thing. So all that is here. So now when I open up Cursor, what I can do is I could say open folder, and I can just open up whatever my project is. And then it'll open up my files and I'm good to go. So I'm actually, because I'm done with this now, I'm going to exit out and then open up a new thing to show you what Cursor is from the beginning. All right, so when you first open up Cursor, you can open a folder. You don't need to worry about SSH. This allows you to mirror into Joel. I know you have Replit. So this is the benefit of having Replit is you can mirror it and connect the two. Otherwise, there's not really a point for Replit in my opinion. So I'm going to hit open folder. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go to projects. I'll do about prompt box. I think that's the one I've been working on. So I'm just going to open prompt box. Oh, this is the wrong one. Sorry. We're going to do open folder. Yeah, still the wrong one. I hope I saved the right one. Otherwise, I'm freaking screwed. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yes, great. Let's hope it is. Yep. Resources, info, assets. Okay, so this is for a mobile app. I just want to give you the lay of the land on how these visual code editors work, and then we'll get into some of the more fun stuff. Every type of thing that you're going to be building has a different kind of like folder structure or what you'll need. So in an Apple like iPhone app, you have something that's called like assets X cassettes or something. So or XC assets is what it is. So then you have like color scheme. You have these little like, content things just dictating what's the color scheme. Um, Everything is organized in folders though. And what you can do that I love about this tool is you hit Command Shift I. Now, I still have a prompt environment just like everything else, but now what I can do is I can hit at and it embeds if you know what embeddings is, it's like a search engine for whatever you have. So once you have a ton of files, let's say I have 80 files, now I can do at code base and I can interact with my entire code base. Freaking awesome. So if I'm trying to find something or make a tweak across the entire code base, I can do that now. That's the difference of ChatGPT. One of the differences of trying to generate code in ChatGPT versus here is it's able to access each separate file, and I can really control the context much easier. So code base is one. Next, I can also just do a folder. If I just want to talk about one specific thing in my folders, that's what I typically do. I don't want to go too far. One of the things, like too broad. One of the things that's a problem with coding with AI is that if you make these changes, a lot of times it's undoing another change, which is why I like to have code base. And I have a prompt to help with that as well. You can also hit plus and just add the files that way. So the really cool thing though is you can create the files from here. This actually has, it will edit your files, resave your files. It'll delete files. It'll add files. It'll do everything you need all from a single spot. So this is your hub. You just interact here and you just prompt it exactly how you would normally prompt. It's hard to see in the screen, but there's a drop down at the bottom where you can choose your models. You can upload any model you want as well. So if you want to really get into it and save some money, you can bring in other models. So for instance, I read white papers on which AI models score best on what things, and something called DeepSeek happens to be the best open source model for coding. So if you want something that's 1/1000th of the price of any other model like ChatGPT or Claude, then DeepSeek, I recommend starting with Claude Sonnet because the biggest hurdle to start off with is just having giant headaches. And if you can just use the model that's going to give you the least amount of headaches, that's where I would start and then start refining and use a cheaper model. So I highly recommend only using Claude 3.5 Sonnet to start off. Not don't use anything else in here. Yes, Joel.
Um, Before we get too far away from something you just said, I just want to share an anecdote. I spent a week or two playing with this and doing a plugin for WordPress, which is a
Yep.
pretty simple application. You know, the structure. Um, One thing that I encountered several times was what
Yep.
you just said, where they will, you know, you'll make a change and it will kind of
Mhm.
the change will ripple back and then
Yep.
undo something that I really liked.
Yep.
But then it's like, hey man, what happened to this thing? It was we were almost there, and then everything fell apart.
Hmm.
So I what the structure that I had set up was I have a shared folder um, through Dropbox, but that it updates everywhere on all my boxes, so I can sit at my desk or at the coffee shop.
Yep.
Um, that file structure, that's where I put my scratch, and then I've also got a WordPress folder, you know, that it runs on my local server. And so what I
Mm.
was doing is it took a little more time manually, right? But every time I would do an iteration or a save, I would drag that over into my WordPress folder and update that plugin
Mm.
manually,
Yeah.
and then add a generation in my save folder. So, you know, I
Mm.
would basically just change the top level folder to a one. Cursor would continue to shit to save into the same folder, but I would duplicate. You know what? Is that what? Am I making sense?
Yes.
So
I
that
know what you're saying.
in a day, I would end up with 10 different versions of the same, you know, attempted plugin,
Yep.
and I'd be testing each one manually. But if something broke, I can always go back three versions to where it worked, and I would, you know, make a note like we're the closest we've been with this one. And I had to
Yep.
screw it up a couple times and wish I had done it before I started doing it that way.
Yep.
Um, that's just me being kind of like super redundant, you know, non-destructive
Yes.
in my archival. It's just something to consider for the
So
same
there's
reason.
an easier way.
Okay,
That'll be for another. I would say that's probably the next video, but GitHub is the way. So that's the whole
okay,
purpose of having GitHub is you're going to save your files on GitHub. The other thing is in Composer, after an extended period of time, there's an auto save that gives you the ability to revert. Another thing is I don't do all of my prompting in here. I like to prompt somewhat in here and still use my OpenAI, app. And I'm kind of using two OpenAIs and using this. And I'm just going back and forth, back and forth. And I prefer to do something like that instead. And basically,
that's fair.
that's how I'm mirroring it. But your way, I will say, no matter what, you need to have a method where
Yeah,
you are saving your stuff and making sure that there's a backup because my God, it is so frustrating. I deleted my entire mobile app yesterday and it pissed me off so much. But
yeah. Well,
yeah, I
and I'll
was
say
able to
this
get
too
it. But
that I cussed at Cursor quite a few
oh,
times
yeah,
too,
me too.
and
Me too.
I was being very colorful with my language, and it was very apologetic, and
Yep.
you know. assured me that I had done nothing wrong, but that it was
Hmm.
its fault, that whole thing. Um, that said, when I was able to say, okay, let's just start over. Here's, here's the last code from yesterday.
Yep.
Start with this. And then it would look at what it had produced and go, oh, I remember this, or maybe not remember it, but okay,
Yep.
now I see what you want. This makes
Yep.
sense within the context of the current. And it
Yep.
says, okay, so if we maintain this and this and this. And I would like, okay, so I was so thankful that I had a bit of non-contextual
Yes.
conversation to add into the frustration of the moment because it kind of
Yes.
brought us back in. It was like, if I could record arguments I've had with my girlfriend, be like, no, this is what you said. And then, GPT is like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're always right.
You're
I'm
always
wrong.
right.
All
Well,
right. Thanks.
thank you for bringing in the color commentary. It is exactly right. So I'm going to minimize this real quick. There's another thing you can do. You've got three different things up here. You can toggle the AI pane like this, and you can do a normal chat, which is more like a chat is more just a sync, like kind of like a normal open AI. I just want to like interact. I can also upload an image. So if I wanted to show the errors that I was getting, or I wanted to, a lot of times you just need to have a visual. It's a pain in the ass to try to describe what you're seeing on your screen. So make sure that you are using this right here. Uh, you'll want to what is this? Do a new chat, or if you're doing Composer for too long, a lot of times I will eventually reset Composer. As you're going, keep in mind this is a way to really, really spend a shit ton of money, guys. Like this is be careful because the more that when you're doing at code base, all that code is background input text. Every single message, if you haven't erased it, is also background input text. So now you'd be surprised, but 50,000 tokens per message is coming out. 100,000 tokens per message. It's you're basically maxing out on the full token. Like to give you an example, for when I created the ebook, that's 150,000 tokens towards the by the time I am writing the second chapter, it's about at 100,000 tokens of input just to move on. But if I just kept the context going and going and going, it's really easy to do. Uh, if you there's another tool called Klein that's like an add-on here. It's an extension. So there's a whole like extension market over here. Here's Klein. Klein's another way of doing this. You don't have to use if you don't want to spend $20 a month. This one is a free one, and it's probably the second best out there. And anyway, this actually counts, has the ability to count how much it costs for each year's things. And it starts to be like $1, $2, $3 per message. So keep that in mind. You really want to, this is why I'm showing you reset Composer. You'll want to do that just to start over. You want to get to save points, adjust your files, reset. And this is like an overview. I don't expect anyone to have like action, like straight enough just to like actionable do stuff. But at least you'll have a tool to know that and mess around, get familiar with. So by next week, hopefully we can actually work on some stuff. But let's go to the last piece of this, and then, or there's two things. There's settings, and then I'll show you the last piece. So settings, I really love this. You can give rules for the AI. So in every single prompt, it's just going to have this as a rule. A lot of times it won't actually, I'm not a coder, so a lot of times when I ask it to fix something, it'll just fix that one section of the code, then won't output the full code. And because I don't want to dig through and find like, okay, where do I put that fix in this giant block of code? I just output the whole code. I don't care. So that's how I've chosen to use this. Now, there's some other things you can do. Choose your models here. You can add models here as well. You can put your API keys in here as well for anything. You can do different features. So basically, if you're a developer, you'll have more of a preference here. Composer, make sure this is enabled. That's the thing that I just talked about. Then we can, your code base, this is embeddings, improving your code base wide answers. All your code is stored locally. So just I resync the index. This is the next piece that is incredible, guys. So you know how AI has a cutoff date. We've all experienced it with anything that we're trying to do, whether it's writing content on the internet or coding. It only has knowledge up to about October 2023. Well, if you're coding, that's actually a big deal because a lot of times things get outdated rather quickly and then it's going to break. So you'll get actually perfect code. But the problem is it was perfect code in 2023. It's not perfect code anymore. So you need to update these libraries. And my Excalidraw thing that I'll give you guys shows some of the commands that you can do to do that. But I'm just letting you know that is one of the problems here. So then there's the other piece. What if there's in the AI world, there's all these tools that exist that didn't even exist that long ago. They're like 6 months old, but they're incredible, and now they've become the best things out there. Well, or there's an older tool that just isn't super well known, and the API documentation, how to access that, it's just not super understood by the AI. It's pretty sparse. The knowledge is pretty low. So you can add docs. You just go to this. I love this. I just add a new doc and then I input the URL for the API documentation. It crawls all of the API documentation. And then once I'm actually in my thing here, I can just add the doc. And now when I'm talking, it's going to have that exact API documentation. So when I'm interacting and asking questions, boom, you've got everything you need. This is why Cursor is incredible because I can save this. And once you start really getting into coding, you're just going to love it. And you're like, all right, well, for an SEO, for instance, your best friend's going to be data for SEO because it's the best tool out there. My first job in SEO was working for, it was the biggest competitor of Moz back in the day. In 2015, they were like the number 3 tool. Ahrefs was just getting started. And our whole tool was like built off of basically data for SEO, which is absolutely crazy. So anyway, I would just put that in there. Now you could build an entire SEO tool rather easily using data for SEO. But you want to put the docs in here, and then you want to add those docs, and then you're good to go. So that's the only other thing I wanted to show. Next is just this bottom toggle panel. This is where everything happens. So once you're actually interacting with your files, you just hit the bottom here. The terminal is where you do your commands. It looks intimidating. It's really not, especially when you can ask the AI to give you the commands to use. So it'll say like, all right, do blah, blah, blah install or do this other thing, reset. And you're like, all right, I'll just enter it in here. Good to go. And then it actually does the thing. So that's all there is to it. So I could do npm install. Okay, I haven't even done npm yet. I could do npm, what was it? npm run, npm build. There's all sorts of like commands. You don't need to know them. I think that's it for now. So I'm going to minimize this. Let's go into the other stuff. Where's my I don't know where all my other things went. Oh, here it is, cursor. So let's go back into here real quick. Example project documentation. Let me click into that so we can just take a look. So this is what, after you've massaged it a bit, this is exactly what the project documentation will look like. And then we'll do a little run through of just how I would do it. I actually don't have my microphone set up to do what I want to do, but I'll show you how to do it. We have the overview. So what is the goal of your tool? We have something called a user journey, which is them just what the user's experience in your tool is, whether it's a website or a tool, it's all the same. Then we've got technical requirements. It's going to build that out for you. So here's the front end, here's the back end, database, some caching. We have some libraries that we're going to use, specific features, some examples, payment gateway, how I will deploy this. My CMS will be this. There's all sorts of stuff that you can build out here. Then we have the folder structure. So you build out this entire document, and what you can do is literally just this. I would control or just like, grab all of it, and then you just go into cursor and you do a new text file and you just paste that in. So now, as you're interacting, This you can reset your composer, start from scratch, and just simply at this file. Because if you at this file, it has just enough context to really understand everything it needs to understand to at least get you started. So it's really important. This is one of my hacks to be able to really make AI more efficient is have a singular document that's literally just a doc. It's saved in here, and you're just going to at that, and you'll be able to interact a little bit better with as you're prompting. So it's also a good way to save some money. So this is also the key to how Content Sprout's coding tool works is we create these things for you. We create user stories. We create all of these sorts of things. So let's open that up. Um, I don't even know which one. I share this with so many people and we test this. Let's do why are there so many social media apps? This is ridiculous.
Do the fan club scraper.
The fan club. Oh, that's a I would because I did that for you, but the we updated things since then. Okay, so you can preview right here. This is all I just showed you inside of VS Code or inside of Cursor. This is just emulating that, so you're able to see all those things here without actually diving in. You can download the whole entire zip file. Now to take code, because you can go to GitHub, you can go to other places have zip files of like templates, just like a WordPress template exists, right? You would download it just like this as a zip file, and then you open up the zip, you just hit that. Now it's here. I would drag it into my projects, and then I'm good to go. And now I would just open it up inside of here. That's all there is to it. And then you just have everything you need. So let's go back now. Now, if you want to just view this without actually opening up further, as you can see in here. Server, let's see, database, middleware, plugins, models off. Let's see here. Okay. One more important, boring thing to cover is the sort of the structure. You have configuration of your stuff. You have, I like to separate things. I've talked to other people too, separating your files into back end and front end. For whatever reason, AI likes that more. So I've just been separating them out back end, front end. But we have packages, which is basically just a declaration of here are the libraries you're needing to download. So that's just telling you what you'll need to download. Now, in your environment, if you were to open your file from here and open it into Cursor, your local computer doesn't just have all of this stuff downloaded. So it's important. You'll need to download it. So next, README is kind of like exactly what I just talked about with the file of like, okay, what is the overview of this? Here's the table of contents. Here are the features of this. Here's the tech stack of this. Here is project structure. Here's how to get started. Installation is just giving you directions on how to do all this. You can take this at that document, just talk to Cursor and say, hey, could you explain to me? I'm a beginner, I'm a newbie, and it'll give you exactly what you need. So that's exactly all you need to do. So it's telling you how to do all these things. NPM install, these are all like the commands you do. Then we have customer journey. So I like to add the instructions, the README, and customer journey all together because that gives the AI just about everything it needs. Because even if it doesn't know all of the code, a close approximation is knowing the file tree and knowing how the users are going to interact with every piece of your tool. So that's exactly what this is. So that is the tool. So if inside a coding tool, you can do your own idea here. You can declare what you want to build. If I'm going to do cloud SaaS. And if you know, if you go through this exercise I'm about to show you with the prompting to get your project requirements, then you would actually want to do this. You want to specify your tech stack like this, like Node.js, comma, Python, comma, like you're just doing it like that, right? So that's how this part works. Name your tool whatever you want. For the idea, I'm literally just putting that entire document into here. I might like shorten it a bit Um, but I'm for sure doing, I don't do the file structure. Don't do that. I would say you'll want to do at least the project overview because this is kind of saying exactly what the tool is. All right, well, the goal is to build a website generator app that allows people to do this, 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 and this. The system will exclusively use this right here. I don't necessarily need to even do a user journey, but this piece at a minimum is what the idea is going to require. So if you want to write this manually, feel free. If you want to do it through this method I'm going to show you, then you can do that as well. But that's exactly what this is for. And I might have some other things like, all right, I need to make sure that I designate that I want this, this. My database is Supabase. You'll start developing some preferences based on the research. If you watch about 10 hours of YouTube videos too on this kind of stuff, that's all you need really. And then probably another 10 hours of just dicking around with this stuff and you already start to get a vibe for like what you're going to want to do. There's not really a wrong answer. It's more just stages and preferences. So a lot of times what's right for you is just based off of like I want a minimum viable product. I know this can't scale. I know I'm going to run into issues if I wanted to turn this into a business. But if it's just for you, sometimes you don't need what AI would recommend, which is like this crazy amount of work. Sometimes you just want something simple. So just for everyone's enlightenment here, if you want something simple, Next.js is what you should probably be using. This is my go-to right now. Next.js is a really flexible coding language that includes React. You don't know you guys don't have enough context for me to even describe the benefits of this and like the pros and cons. So I'm not going to bother right now. Just understand that Next.js is really good. You can use my prompt sequence that I talked about, or that 20 prompt sequence or whatever, and you can ask about programming languages. It'll give you the details and unpack this stuff. But I want to show you Next.js because I was able to build this website in 20 minutes, and I'm not a web designer. And using my prompts, I got the copy done. So this took an hour total from zero. All right. So I'm trying to build a whole agency around AI consulting tools for sales, marketing, and ops. Uh, all of this is Next.js, right? So icons are all part of, what was it? Next.js, like Shad CN. Doesn't matter. We have our process here. Really cool. Like, works really well. All these different features. But yeah, this is what a site looks like. You can go super. Let me just click stuff so you can see how. Oh, I haven't loaded any other pages yet. I was gonna say one of the benefits is it's actual instant loading. So if you click any page on a Next.js site, or it's a React site really, using a React coding language, instant load time. User experience for my personal experience, if you have that big of a difference of load time than your competitors, it's a ranking boost and it is a huge conversion boost, especially for businesses that are e-commerce. It is incredibly important. This is one of the ways to convince clients to switch is WordPress. A lot of times we're talking 5 seconds to load, maybe three if you're optimizing pretty well. We're talking half a second, and everything loads. It's incredible. The experience is amazing. So that's one of the reasons why I like Next.js, and the React language is for that reason. All right, so I'm going to minimize.
Hey, Andrew, is that site live?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Although I do have another one that is live, I believe. I haven't edited much. Promptbox that app. Just use the template though. Yes, I'll click around. Pricing, boom, I'm on pricing. Blog, boom, I'm there. Changelog, boom, I'm there. I mean, it's incredible. Let's go back. But yeah, so you can go to promptbox.app and see this is also Next.js, similar framework to the one I just made. All right, so let's go through some of the tools or some of the things that'll make your life a lot easier. I just found this tool. It's brand new. Absolutely incredible. You guys are going to love it. It's like what Elementor is, but for Next.js sites. So here is a tool called Reweb. Now, what's funny is a visual builders like this is what's nuts is visual builders were such it was a monumental improvement for people because it really gave a lot of people the ability to code that or to like create sites that didn't have that ability. But AI now is so freaking good that I just want to talk to the AI. I don't even want to interact in these visual models anymore. I'd rather just verbalize. But this is nice. It's something that you can have where it'll just be like, hey, here are my sections. It's very, you'll be more familiar with it of how to use this. So the things to keep in mind with this tool for Reweb is it uses ShadCN. So this is the other thing that's really cool is tools like I'll also open V0. So V0 I'm going to give you all the tool lists for this. V0 is incredible. This is my number one tool for creating a front end really, really quickly. But a lot of times you'll get into that loop where it's like, all right, it's just not understanding what I want. Well, we know the libraries it has access to. All right, it has ShadCN. Well, I'm just going to go here, find the components, input the code, and then say, add this. That's all there is to it. So ShadCN is one. Next is Lucid Icons. So lucid.dev. So this is all those visual editor tools with AI. They're pulling from Lucid and they're pulling from ShadCN. And for minimum viable products, here's the other thing is like no one, this is so new that no one's really going to know that how easy this is. But it's so easy. This is when I'm going into V0, it's pulling from Lucid for my icons, and it's pulling here, I can just go to the icon list here. Yeah, and all I have to do now is like, all right, well, I like this icon, and I'm just going to uh what is it? Copy, what is it? Transportation. Where's the actual thing? Copy SVG. Oh, copy JSX. So I just hit copy JSX and then or copy component name, and then I can paste that in. And then there you go. You have what you need. Let me show you what I was just building. Let's do, someone said something on iPhone. Maybe your son, you weren't muted or something. Okay, so I started by saying, hey, mimic this exact image, but use the colors from Cyberpunk. I ended up giving up on that, but I'll show you the image if I can. So this I just went to, there are all these websites where designers load their designs. This is what's crazy is you can just now take those designs and mimic them. And this is it, man. I mean, I'm doing this with copywriting. I'm doing this with website, with pages, entire components of what. That's how I just built my website that I just showed you. So, like, let me show you this, right? So, our process, this future thing, I'll show you exactly where I got it. I got it from WebFX, where this is a huge behemoth and for organic. And I just happen to know because I research in my market all the time. Hey, I like this little component here. Took a screenshot and then just asked ChatGPT to like adjust the copy. And I want to use my future as the acronym, create some options. Boom. Now I have it. And now we have something that looks like this. Cool. That's exactly what I wanted. Boom. Next, what's another thing I reverse engineered? This right here, free MVP build out. Let's do another one. Min microsas. Found this guy on YouTube and I just saw, oh man, I like what he's done here. One-on-one personal consultation for the first 20, 15, 10, 5 users. Dennis Babak. Great. Copy, reverse engineer. I have it now. This is everything now in the future is we are just going to understand the workflow and understand the tools. Your job now really is just to have a good eye. So every ad I see that I like, I save. Every component that looks cool, I save. Everything that makes me feel the warm and fuzzies that I think I could use later, I save because I can reverse engineer it. and deconstruct it using my prompt sequence or just using tools. So keep that in mind. That's exactly what I'm doing here. So I wanted to give an example here. I took this dashboard. All right, well, my website's missing some like I need to show people that I can make something, right? I don't need to actually make the whole tool. I'm not lying. I need to show them that look what I can make. And I can make it. I just happen to make it with AI really easily. And I have my developers. If I need ever run into a problem, I can go to Upwork. I'll have another video where I can show like how to hire people, but there are developers all around that can help you. This is how I suggest things for. Actually, let me take a step back. This is where I see the market going. It used to be rely entirely on someone else for the project. Now you could do it all yourself, but it's so much easier to get 80% of the way there. Just pay someone for that 20%. And it's so much cheaper. You're going to have 1/10 of the cost. They'll do stuff. Get AI to kind of outline the next steps. There's going to be some, as you're learning, it's going to be more broken than the 80%, but you'll eventually get there where you're consistently hitting where, yeah, I've done good on my project. Now it's ready to hand off to an expert. With content, I do the same. So when I have clients, I use my AI content with content blah, blah, with CSAI.
Sprout?
Yeah, sorry, with Content Sprout. And then after Content Sprout writes, sometimes for larger clients, they want something more. So I just hire an expert. I don't even care if they're a writer. All right, are you a lawyer? Do you work at a hospital? What's the niche that you're in? I just want that person. And AI or an editor can edit that, but that's how I'm doing anything with AI at this point is I just want to reduce my costs. And I don't think that you don't need to be the person that loses your job. But if you try to if you try to hold on for too long where you're still holding on to the old model expecting to charge the same amount of money and still do things in the same exact way, I think you're going to end up being hurt. You're going to fall behind. And we still have time. You can still do that. Not everyone knows what's happening yet. There's an adoption period, but we're heading there. And I think the only way you're going to not feel the pain is, well, I can just 10x my output now. So I might have to lose the same amount. I might just be spinning my wheels here, but at least I'm not losing money. And I actually like that anyway. It's my brain. So many of us in this group are squirrel brained and like to constantly look at other things anyway. I prefer that. So I actually like the new feature of stuff. And it's just cool to I don't know, to be able to just see the progress visually. It's just kind of nice. So that's where I'm seeing the market going. That's how how I would recommend for you guys to sort of look at the AI. So let me show you this prompt real quick. So generally with V0, all you're going to do, you can start with an image and then you just do some simple prompts. And you generally want to start one by one with stuff. I give it the overall view and then I just one by one. The actual prompt to repeat, though, is if I scroll down, I've got like an iterative prompt. Okay, here we go. So I have this all saved. You guys will have this. I'm just showing you that I'm saying the exact same thing. Remember, don't undo your progress. Ultimately, the description I gave and the image I gave, they are king. Time to incrementally improve. You know how modern SaaS functionality works and can assume how it works in this task content. You have the description that I gave you and the image so you can infer and logic out. Remember your current context. Here's the thing that's really important. Once again, I have these prompts saved. This is my coding iteration prompt. Remember your current context, analyze the dependencies to avoid overriding the good stuff, identify the improvements, add one improvement that gets you closer to the design, color scheme, or the assumed functionality. At the end of your output, you'll state what you notice could be the next noticeable improvement as it pertains to whatever it is you want to pertain to. You could just end it at improvement, but eventually I want to point it more to different things. So it's getting closer and closer. And you can actually see over here the way that V0 works. You can see up here. I have the versions. This is why it's called V, version. So let's go to V1. This is my V1. No flags. It's kind of getting there. It looks decent. And then I just did that prompt basically 9 times. And now we're here. little bit more refined, a little bit better. It's exactly what I want. It's basically mindless. I didn't really do anything other than repeating the same thing. Yeah, that's how you kind of get to where you want. So for reverse engineering complicated things, this is all I would do. You screenshot it and just go to town. Now, here's the combo here. I'm going to show you now. You can go from here, and this is how you make websites. Now, I can go here, and let me just hit import code. Now, what I would do is I create the section or whatever inside of, let's do this. Dashboard design, feature section design. Great. This is the one I'll show you. Okay, this is me trying to iterate on this thing here, my future, great, feature section. Um, okay, now we're at the point that I want. The problem is this tool doesn't play fully nice with that other tool. So V0 has its own coding approach. So I think this is probably like, I wanted to give you something to play around with first. And this is an easy one. So V0 is probably the simplest thing to start off with because there's no coding files that you really need. In future, or sorry, in your in reweb.so, that's your Next.js stuff. You can literally Google Next.js website templates, open that up if you want, or just use a template that's built from inside of here. You're good to go. But you're going to take this, you click this file here, you copy this code, and then all I'm going to do, I did this in Cursor. It can be anywhere though. But all I'm going to do is I paste that code in here, and then I have a specific prompt that I built out that translates from V0 to Reweb. So Reweb provided a prompt. Let me show you that real quick because it's garbage. So Reweb has a prompt here. If you hover over, it says, hey, if you're importing from V0, here's the prompt to use. This prompt sucks. It does not work. It's like very annoying. So I built my own. The new one is so much better, and it is this. So all I do is I paste the code from V0, and I say, here's my the prompt formula that I need you to use when you're translating this code into the next format it needs. Great, translates the code. You just literally paste it into here, paste, boom, you have your entire section. Now you can build websites like super fast, guys, just using this combo here. Now you don't even need to have a visual editor like this, because you can also just like literally open a local hosting environment on your computer and visually see. But I'm not going to go over that right now. I'm just showing you. I want to go over the stuff that's probably closest to what everyone's already familiar with. And a visual editor, everyone is kind of familiar with. V0, super simple. It's already kind of like ChatGPT. It's just they have custom prompts in here and system text that are taking your files and allowing you to build things out really quickly. So those are the two things to really be familiar with there. So you have the prompt here. Let's go through here real quick. So iterative prompt template. Yeah, so here's the general, the shortest and sweetest little like prompt I could give you guys. Anytime you are working on files and trying to improve something, you can adjust this as you want, but it's state the current context, analyze the dependencies, propose solutions systematically, and verify the changes. That's it, guys. You're just going to be using that and then adding maybe one line that's contextual to whatever it is you're trying to do. This helps so much. So Joel brought up the fact that and Larry, I saw you shaking your head when AI undoing some of the progress. This fixes that. This prevents that from happening. Same here. Inside that happens really badly with V0. So this is my version of the V0 to be able to say, all right, how do I continue to make sure we're moving forward without moving backwards? you have to have a prompt where you're essentially not leaking water. And that's the biggest thing with AI coding right now, how to not leak water. All right, so let me pause real quick. Do you guys have any questions? Because I just spat a ton because there's a lot to go over, but we have V0 that I covered. We have the general prompt structures, a little bit on cursor, and then Reweb and Next.js. Happy to answer some stuff.
Andrew, do we have access to these notes? Any of these notes coming to us?
Yeah,
And if
I'll be sharing them with you. Let me share this right now, actually. Shareable link, copy link. I would download this as an image, by the way, because I don't pay for Excalibur, so whenever I make new Excalibur, it overwrites it. I'm going to put this in the chat. I'm also going to save it. AI coding talk. Okay, and then chat right here. Great. So you have the Excalibur. Okay, so as you can see in here, we have what you need for cursor, everything I've already gone over, the plus to how to use this. Add code base, terminals where you install the libraries. We've got, was there anything else with this one? Oh yeah, the websites for icons and the websites for components are right there. And then these are the commands. How many is there? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 commands that you're going to usually your AI is going to ask you to do a bunch. This is just a little cheat sheet for you to be like, all right, this is what they do. Just so you can understand it. Because a lot of this is kind of like another language, but it's no different than Spanish. It's just like you got to understand a little bit of like how to translate. That's all this is. So npm build builds the project typically for production. npm update. That's handy. This updates all of your packages. Cool. So all that kind of stuff. Or I need to create a new directory. I need to figure out what directory I'm even on. I need to create a new file. All that kind of stuff is right here. So super simple. Now the last piece of this, guys, is your project requirements and just how to do that. So all you need to do for that is hit this little mic button right here. I have the app, but you just hit this. Let me see if it actually reads. Allow. Okay, so I am building in a cloud software that is designed to generate websites on command. And I know that I want Python and Next.js and blah, blah, blah. Here are the features. And I'm just going to talk and talk and talk. And basically, the whole goal here is to aim for about 2 minutes of you just chatting it up. And this is the future of everything, in my opinion, is like you will have assistants that operate this way and in real time going back and forth, and you can do real work. And I don't even need to do anything else. So that's the goal is I want to speak and then it shows stuff. It comes back to me. Great. And I'm just going to go back and forth. I'm tired of typing. I can have this going on one half of my screen while doing something else or looking at something, but this is my workflow. So I always start here when I'm building something like a bigger project or trying to maybe refine how I'm prompting or anything like that. I always start with the audio. It converts it. I hate typing. And once you do this, you're just going to keep on talking back and forth and just kind of iterating, iterating, iterating. That's all there is to it. Hit plus or hit the accept. It's here. Can you hear me, by the way? Good.
Yep, you can.
Yep. So all you do is that you use the prompt sequences I was talking about, but the main thing that you need to be aware of is you're just trying to get a project roadmap. You're trying to consider everything you need, and you really want to detail things. You can give it the example file that I have over here and it's linked, and say, hey, here's an example for a previous project I did. Let's um, let's think this same way logically and figure out like for this other project where I want to make an SEO tool, that scrapes the SERP and then identifies this thing here, does this thing here, blah, 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 blah. Great. That's all you need to do. And then create something like this. And then, like I said, you put that into Cursor, you're going to interact and start creating the files as needed. And boom, bam, you are off to the races. So that's all there is to it. Now, the content sprout is just, once again, it's doing a lot of this stuff for you. You don't have to do it, but we charge $30. I believe it cost me 21 or $22 in credits to, or in little token usage because it's a lot of prompting. This still takes a long time, but at least gets you really far ahead. This will save you a lot of time. I'd say it probably saves you, even with what all the stuff that AI does, it's going to save you 2 hours. Once you even become proficient, it still saves me 2 hours. I'd say it saves me 5 to 6 hours if I was not proficient. So for me, that's worth the money. So you do not have to use this tool. I do not plan to really make money off of this tool. I just created it because I want to create so many projects now that I just wanted to give myself a head start. And that's what I'm doing now. So I'm just using this to give myself a head start. Once again, once you get the output, you have uh, a different message thing or whatever that would be O1 preview. So O1 preview is the one that you poke holes with. And I just go side by side and just all I want to do is just kind of like, all right, whatever 4.0 gave me, then it's going to uh, kind of like inspect, make sure that everything is good to go. And I'm always keeping these open where I have an O1 preview model, a 4.0 model, and then I've got my cursor. Sorry, I have my cursor stuff. So that's generally the triumvirate of what I'm doing.
So on GitHub, it takes care of all the commands by default, right? When it comes to updating things, it already knows what to do and knows when things need to be updated, all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It does.
And then in
It,
Cursor, when you talk about the code base, so you have your AI prompt and you do it at the code base, the AI already knows what file to go edit, change based on your prompt. Is that correct?
Not unless you got to do at code base to
Well,
for
yeah,
it to
okay,
know.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes, and once again that gets it's not the so that feature, it's embeddings are still the embedding model I'm using is the native one that involves zero setup. So if you wanted to get fancy with it and go with the cutting edge embedding models, you would not experience this problem. But I'm not doing that. I'm doing the easy one. So as a result, I'm not able to just at code base and 100% of the time have it understand exactly what's up. So that's why it's so important to create the project doc, the README. You at those files instead that include the file tree and stuff. And then that's what I'm usually working with in order to for it to know where to go. And keep in mind too, if you remove the context, let's say you had an at code base, and then you remove that context, like in the next prompt, it still has the message history and what it was saying previously. So it kind of has like the pseudo memory of your code base, just purely based on context.
Yeah, this is impressive.
I got a question for you, Andrew.
Yep.
Your that requirement doc, project requirement doc that you're adding as your cursor map, so to speak.
Yep.
Is when you produce that, um, were you were you doing your verbal prompting like you did just now in the GPT, where you were just kind of free association, just talking, and then it came up with all this stuff based on what it knows that project requirement document looks like, and that kind of manifested, or
I
to talk.
talked all of this one. This was all created with zero examples, just talking it out, just back and
Uh-huh.
forth. Probably spending about 5 minutes talking. So 2 minutes of actual delivery of like what my thoughts are. I'd
Yeah.
say actually 10 minutes. Probably took me 10 minutes. And then after that, push it into O1. And then O1, once again, I don't think I think I'm actually typing in O1. I can't remember if O1 has the speak to text, but if it does, then you could continue using that. But yeah, that's all I'm doing. And then once I'm ready, I just kind of have everything. What it looks like though is O1's going to poke some holes, might outline some things, give some suggestions, and then something will look good. And I'm like, all right, I like these 3 out of 6 suggestions. So I'll tell it to, yeah, I like that, that, and that. Forget the other stuff. Now expand and improve whatever the original thing was by kind of playing jazz with those suggestions that you had, and you're good to go. I would say when you're using your voice and not typing, I'm far less precise, but that's okay. Like sometimes I just want to do that, but it might take a little bit longer. But mentally speaking, I just feel much better being able to talk. I literally will walk on my phone outside and do this exercise. So now I can take my walks or something, and I need to do it more. But because I just started doing the verbal part probably like 3 weeks ago now. And yeah, it's just a good way. Anything that can get me out of the house, I'd rather not be looking
So
constantly at the screen.
can I make an observation? Just one of my little abstraction things. You know,
Yep.
part of part of this, I think, for me at least, the amazing thing is, a person, a human, a developer, a client, they can know what they want, right? They
Mhm.
can be encouraged to go one way or another. They can be enlightened to something they didn't know they wanted, or they can
Mhm.
be told that they have to include this because this is necessary, But rarely, I think, can we confirm whether we're clients or developers or, you know, unless you've been doing, unless you like invented something that you're selling and you know every in and out, it's hard to know what you don't know. And like in a lot of these, I'm in situations like you're describing, we just went an hour and learned 5 or 6 different softwares very quickly
Yeah.
and just kind of as a, well, this is how I use it, blah, blah, blah. Now you know how to make websites. Okay, sure. You know,
It's gonna take hours more, but yes.
but yeah, exactly. And then, I asked you about the thing and you're like, maybe it was 5, maybe it was 10, spend 10 hours on YouTube. There's a lot that goes into knowing what needs to be somewhere that you don't know you need until you find out you need it or
Yep.
until AI knows that it's needed and says,
Um,
this is what you're going to do. And so a lot of my prompting is tell me the things that, tell me what goes into this.
I don't know what I don't know. Yeah.
Set up the buckets for me, and then we'll go through and fill up all the buckets. But I need to establish where the buckets are, where the silos, and so that's what I really like about that requirement document that you've got there, and
Yep.
why I asked if you shot from the hip to make that, or if you said,
Yeah.
okay, I need a project requirement document template, and then okay, here's my prompt. I feel like the prompt game is if you can, and we've talked about this before, if you can through prompts train AI to prompt the user
Yep.
on how to prompt AI, like that is the feedback loop kind of sweet spot where GPT is like, hey, will you tell me to do this thing? And then you're like, oh, do that thing. And then thank you. Now I'll do this thing. Um, like that to me is really the win is if you can create some prompts that train the bot to prompt the user to do the things the bot needs to be told what to do. If that makes any
That
sense.
and it does make sense. That's exactly why I have my prompt sequences is because like in general, there's 2 ways, and I have to someone even hopped on, I have a minute left. But for people like that, where like you're starting from scratch, I am making it look a lot easier than it is to get here to even understand things like this, to find it all. It took a lot of digging, but it is that simple now. I am trying to make it look simple to a certain extent, but it's pretty simple. But the prompts, you have 3 approaches maybe. You deconstruct the hell out of anything. You try to use that 20 prompt sequence. You try to say, what are the roles? involved in this and think. Let's think in each role, right? Let's go through every single role involved, and we are going to try to get the AI to think in each of these ways of just all right. Let's really pinpoint in, and then now that we have all, it's like think of it like a board meeting where everyone wants to create a company that's successful. Well, I can't, if I was the director of marketing, I don't have all of the context that I need to really make a fully successful campaign, which is why you need the whole board to speak, and then you can make your evaluations. And once you have the whole board speaking, here's the other crazy thing. Hey, explain it like I'm a newbie now. So now I'm going to translate all that nonsense into stuff that's actionable for me. Give me an example. Give me actionability. Give me something where we speak using, compare it to something else that I might know. There's all sorts of things you can do, but that is prompting. At its heart is you are deconstructing the hell out. You are iterating. You are thinking in roles, and that's all there is to it. So all right, I have my next meeting. I'm gonna end this recording and I'll give it to you guys. But the next one, if you guys have questions, I'm gonna in that announcement in school, basically just uh, comment if you have more questions, if you're missing any resources. We went over a lot, but that's because I plan on this being three total sessions to be able to cover this. We can definitely dig in if people are like, I just want to know V0. Give me like how to do that. We can spend a whole session just on that, or how to do GitHub or whatever. But that's you guys have the blocks to get started.
Thank you, Andrew. This was awesome. Good
Awesome,
luck,
Andrew.
everybody.
Awesome. See you guys later.
You, Andrew.
Let me gonna remove some people. Move. There we go. Hey Marty.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I'm good, man. Just wrapping up a session on how to code. Let me
Had a
end,
code?
yeah, with AI and like how to build websites, reverse engineer anybody's website or tools or whatever. And
Well, the answer to that is really simple. It's like a two-sentence answer. Hire you.
hire me. I know, dude. That's the goal. I'm making a website. There's the here it is right now, but it's trying to get it going where AI consulting, tools for sales, marketing, ops, and yeah, we'll we'll see, but that's the goal.
What are you building it in?
So I am fully all in now on something called Next.js because here's the thing that is crazy. You know how like everyone had to do PHP, and then it was WordPress. All right, great. This gives me an environment to manage my stuff now. And then there was like Elementor and Oxygen, and now I get a visual builder, and like it makes it so much easier. What's crazy is the difference between like I guess PHP just native and like visual builders. Now that same leap is visual builders to AI because now I can literally just record my voice or send screenshots and I can literally design entire websites and pages.
And it's
And
being designed in JS and React.
yeah, and next in React, yeah, and it's all good. It's crawled exactly how it should be crawled. Literally, I made this in an hour, and
Yeah, I
from
love React.
it's so good, so good.
Oh, I'm going to be rebuilding my entire series of websites